Hey yo people, welcome back to Galore vs Minecraft, also known as Galore XP plays on new Eriador. My name is Galore XP, I'm playing a new Eriador, go figure. And you just witnessed my newest addition to my base. That was, ladies and gentlemen, my very own treasure vault, which also has its very own treasure vault. Let me explain, ladies and gentlemen. Now, if you press this button, we jump out of the treasury, out of the money gold, which, yeah, in reality is of course just yellow concrete powder sprinkled on top of some stands for the fence gates and fences. But nevertheless, it really does the job, and it really does look like a bunch of money. You know, a bunch of gold just sprinkled around. I honestly stole this from Escalade 5, but don't let that bother you too much, ladies and gentlemen. I now have my own treasure vault. How cool is that? Now, this thing here is very convenient, because as you can clearly tell, every time I will exit my mines, or, you know, come back from the market with all my diamonds, I will have to run all the way to it. Open the goddamn code door, remember the combination, don't forget to take my vault key with me so I can enter, and then search in the money bin for the hole in the floor for like half an hour. Oh, and also there's that. I'm pretty sure that I'm properly stuck right now. Well, guess I live here now. Anyway, yeah, you kinda can't tell that I'm not too thrilled about actually using this, despite how much I love the idea and the design. Seriously, how do I get out of here even? I have no freaking idea. Does the shovel walk on? No, those are entities. Can I break this? No, I can't, because those are entities. Well, guess this is my life now. Oh, yep. Oh, yep. There you go, that worked. Oh, I gotta sort out this little bug here, but yeah, you get the point. It's a bit of a bummer. Now, my decision to even have this room was motivated basically by my idea that, well, if I have all my stuff in one place, I will never leave that place. I will basically constantly be in there, and something like this is pretty interesting and pretty fun to have around. Besides, I could have like a treasury and a weaponry in there, like a room with a bunch of armor and a bunch of super enchanted swords. So that's a great idea. Except, if I want this to be hard to access for everyone, I will have to make it hard to access for myself, which I actually deep down am alright with. It's not every day I have to go to the bank and retrieve all of my money from it, but maybe every single day I will have to store some money inside of that bank, which is a bit of a problem, as I really don't see myself running back and forth constantly. So what if instead of running to the vault every time I want to put a single diamond into the money bin, I will have something different going on here. What if we cut out the all the way to it out of the there and back again? What if we create a system that will instantly transfer all of my money and valuables and all the amazing stuff from my storage room over in my workshop in the brown building all the way to my secret vault? Now, there are some challenges about it. There are quite some challenges about it. And hello, Jeffy Jeff. I will tell you hi in the chat in a second. Give me a moment. Yes, Jeff, I can see you. Be patient. I have like 5 people watching me right now. I should deliver them the goods before I acknowledge our friendship. So, I kind of pondered this idea for a bit. And I kind of wondered, okay, what is the safest and the best and the amazingest way to transfer items from point A to point B? In this case scenario, let's say that point B will be this little dispenser right here. For what reason is it a dispenser? We'll talk about later. But right now, let's check this out. So, first way of doing this is, of course, hoppers. Hoppers are, okay, this is a go-to item transferring thing, and they are quite convenient. Like, even before, after they fire up, there is literally zero chance that someone will grab stuff from them from inside before they actually end up in my treasury. At the same time, if I cover them with like blocks on top of them, yeah, no one can get to them and no one can even put anything in them. Thank you, Mr. Dispenser. That was very nice of you. So hoppers are definitely a possibility. However, there is a bit of a problem with them. They cost, you know, iron. That thing that I don't have much of, despite having a little iron farm of my own. So that's a bit of a problem, a bit of a hiccup. So what if we decide not to use hoppers? Now, there are many other solutions for our problem, and one of the solutions is minecart. Now, you can already tell, you probably can tell instantly that minecarts are not exactly the... Oh, that's a trap chest, sorry. Not exactly what I want to do here. The reason being, well, minecarts are a living liability. Well, they would be a living liability if they were alive. They, however, are not. And that's actually a problem too. Like, if it was at the very least alive, I could count on it not despawning. And yeah, they are a liability because if they hit a chunk border while moving, there is a chance that they will stop. And that's not something I want, and that's not something I can have around it. In fact, I actually have several hopper minecarts running around my base already, and I've been thinking about ways to replace them. So what if instead of hoppers, instead of minecarts, instead of everything else, we'll use something that people usually don't really use in this game for item transportation. You know, the thing that is intended for it. What if we put a line of droppers and hook up a redstone thingamajig to them, just so, you know, they don't feel too liberal with it. Okay, just so they actually walk is what I mean. All right. So this would be the system and the idea, the general idea. Now, why am I so in love with the idea of droppers? First of all, they are cheap. They are cheap as crap. They are literally cobblestone and redstone. Stuff which I have... Oh. That's not a lot, actually, but you get my point. Cobblestone is easy to come by. Redstone is even easier to come by. No, actually, it's the other way around, but you get my idea. Now, how easy are the droppers to rob? Now, if I would put hoppers, which also, by the way, cause lag, which is why I don't really want to deal with them, I would have to surround them from all the sides, right? So they aren't accessible. If we would put a railway to the place, I would also have to surround it all on all sides, but beyond that, my friends, beyond that, hoppers are even more of a liability because someone would be able to come to one end of the two and do this and easily access my poor my poor treasury through the vents, basically, like in, you know, spy films. So yeah, minecarts aren't really an option. So droppers are relatively safe in that regard. You would only have to surround them from yeah, something like that, assuming that the player which would want to rob me would not use you know, couldn't break blocks, obviously. But for that, yeah, I have an idea about how to achieve even that, but probably not in today's episode. Yes, it involves Elder Guardians. Bear with me, guys. It will come eventually. Anyway, so the droppers do have, however, like one problem. They rely on redstone. And they rely on redstone pulses, even. It's not enough to hit them, you have to actually, you know, hit them repeatedly to get them to work properly. And even after, they only can transfer one drop of items in a row. That's actually not much of a problem, seeing how I'm in no particular hurry to get my items from point A to point B. Besides, this is where this dispenser come in. comes in because I kind of wanted to not use actual items for this project. What I wanted to do is I wanted to try and play around with a thing that I don't really usually play around, which is, of course, whatchamacallit, shulker boxes. Now, why don't I usually play around with shulker boxes? Well, I just don't have many of them. Look at it, like these 4 I can constantly use, plus I have like 10 more. Is it 10? No, it's 9, 10. 9. 9 more, so it's 13 shulker boxes in the sum. That's not exactly a lot. That's not exactly a lot, so I cannot allow myself to just waste 10 of potential backpacks on some kind of sorting system. But at the same time, if there is a possibility for me to have a shulker box temporarily stored in one particular place, be unloaded, and afterwards be broken and returned to me, that would be quite a system. That would be something I'm actually interested in. So here's what I've sorry about that. Here's what I've been thinking. What if we put we come home, we get, okay, here, deliver that. The dispenser places it on top of some kind of, you know, super shulker box unloading station, which are a thing, by the way. I know, thanks to, you know, Minecraft subreddit. And after it is unloaded, it is broken and delivered back to me, back to the storage, to my storage room, where it just drops out and I pick it up and I have an empty shulker box to use. Now, of course, somebody would say right now, Zloy, why don't you just, you know, put a shulker box unloading station at your workshop where you want your empty shulker box to be, which would be a great idea. Thank you, imaginary person who I'm talking to. I think we will do that instead. So again, let's go through this scheme before I try to implement it once more. We have a shulker box unloading thingamajig, which unloads shulker boxes, gives me back an empty one, and afterwards we transfer all the cool stuff that we got from the shulker box over to the dispenser, I mean to the point B, I mean to the treasury, where it gets stored in some kind of storage system. I don't know, some kind of auto sorter, probably with a lot of diamonds inside. Yeah, sounds like a plan. Now watch me screw it up. By the way, hi Jeff. You are my friend. I acknowledge your everything. Alright, I feel like I messed something up about this thing, and if I did, I apologize, but I wanna try it anyway. So, we put a shulker box, I put in 7 things in the shulker box, we put a shulker box itself into the thing. Is it doing the... It does. Okay. Before we proceed, credit where credit is due. This has been developed by someone called MethodZZ1 over on Reddit, and yeah, I don't know if he has a YouTube channel where he has a proper illustration of this design, or if not, because on Reddit he only posted like a couple of images of it, like literally a couple. I mean, 2 images of it. Now, the 2 images he posted was the front side and the back side, and I'm really impressed with the fact that his 2 images were clear enough for me to distinguish what is even going on. And yeah, it works. It works perfectly. Not too fast, mind you, but we aren't actually chasing the fastness at the moment. Now, you see, in theory, what if we would put, instead of one hopper in here, a bunch of hopper minecarts inside instead of it? I think it would kind of works kind of the same way, but there is also a risk of the shulker box making it into the thingy chests. And then again, you know, shulker boxes themselves are a bit of a treasure for me, so I guess if my shulker box itself goes into the treasure room, that's not exactly a problem. Now, the benefits of this design is that if you have like several shulker boxes full of crap, you can actually put all of them into the dispenser, and after it is done dispensing the stuff from one shulker box, it will actually swap swap it for the other one, and then the other one, and it will work, and it will dispense empty shulker boxes for you until you run out of stuff inside of them, which is ultimately, in my opinion, pretty freaking amazing. So yeah, thank you to that guy. Once again, sorry I didn't find his YouTube, and this thing will work pretty greatly as a part of our design. The problem is that I built it in the middle of my freaking workshop instead of embedded into the wall as I planned to begin with. I am an idiot sometimes. Now we need a proper thought given to the dropper snake. The happy dropper snake. Look how happy it is. Anyway, we need to figure out how to power them up. Now, of course, I could always have just, you know, a clock running constantly, you know, maybe even a burnout clock for that matter, because this is a simple contraption. It's nothing, no biggie. But the problem is that, yeah, they click like hell when they aren't, when they have nothing to dispense. In fact, if they actually have something to dispense, gimme. They quickly become, as you can clearly hear, they quickly become silent. So that's not exactly a problem. The problem is that we cannot have them constantly equipped with stuff. Now, outside of my place, and I need to get a good night's sleep before we go outside, because outside of my workshop there's a... the silent is a death trap. I'm pretty sure that at some point I decided to call it the Mob Trap Island, like its official name is the Mob Trap Island by Galore XP. But yeah, I actually recently installed this kind of system for the loot coming from my you know, melon and pumpkin farm, and I'm not too happy with it. At the same time, I'm not too disappointed with it. It does exactly what I wanted to do. It brings stuff to my place, except you can clearly see that some stuff gets left behind in the droppers. Now that wouldn't be a problem. That wouldn't be a problem at all for something which is obviously a bunch of, you know, a bunch of melons, a bunch of pumpkins. I have a farm for those, I can bear with them. And as you can clearly see, this minecart is already slacking on the job. I told you guys, I told you many times that minecarts are not reliable. So yeah, I will have to figure out some kind of different way of collecting the stuff, and I apologize if you can hear some drilling going on in the background of this video. Sorry, my neighbors are kinda in the middle of renovation, which also has affected my videos just a tiny bit. Anyway, my friends, this is a bit of a system. We have a bit of a system where if the first dropper has something in it, then the clock will constantly output redstone signals and redstone pulses to make this thing, this giant dropper snake, work, and to make it transfer items over to my workshop, over to the place where I want to store my melons. Now, this really will not run with the with the proper treasures, because we don't want any diamonds, any nothing getting stuck in the middle of our system, which means that we might want like thousands more comparators than I expected to have on this system in the beginning. Yeah, a bit of a bummer, but we will come by and we shall figure it out. Believe me, I'll try. Okay, this is the single dumbest idea I ever had. Let's try it. Okay, we'll put in 4 things into this, and we put boop, and we hear a bunch of clicking. And after we hear a bunch of clicking, nothing on this side. But how many did we put inside? Yeah, 1 actually got transferred into the next one. So it still does work. This stupid idea of mine. Yeah, go figure. Now, if you don't realize what's happening here is I, for some stupid reason, decided to replace every other redstone dust with a bunch of absorbers. There's literally no reason to do this, except maybe if I wanted all of this to be underwater. So, that being the single dumbest idea of how to potentially do this, I decided to go for it. I mean, I don't get to use either droppers or absorbers that much, guys, so I hope you do understand why I really want to try them out. On top of that, I really am not that often of a redstoner. I do know my stuff, mind you. It's just that the newer technology really gets me a tiny bit confused. Now, the way it works is each and every single observer can observe each other. In fact, they can even observe the blocks in the middle between them. The only reason I decided to put the observers in this chain, in this like without any interruptions, is that I don't want them to be constantly bombarded by, I don't know, snow, weather, and all that kind of stuff. I don't really want it to have any open redstone on this, especially since the pipe looking like this kind of looks really slick. And I have this tiny bit of an idea in my brain that maybe, just maybe, if we're gonna go for this more industrial feel for the town, we could even make, you know, no, I don't really the air vents except for post office, entirely powered by pressurized air. I don't really remember the proper name for it, sadly. I remember in Russian something like pneumatic post or something like that. Anyway, that's the idea, and this is where we get to try it out. Now, of course, if I run this while it's empty, it's gonna be a bunch of clicking, and more on top of that, it's gonna be a buttload of clicking all the time, constantly. Unless I actually figure something out and come up with some kind of idea to make it absolutely silent. Which I kinda have, but let's not talk about it just yet. Anyway, my friends, for now, we just have to make sure that this works to begin with. So, we're putting, what should I call it here? We're putting this thing, that thing, and yeah, I know that this is like the most outdated pulse generator ever, but I really feel like we can deal with it for now. And the clicking begins. Will you guys shut up? Will you guys shut up if I give you something? Okay, we can kinda hear them shutting up, and yeah, this is kinda hasty. It's way hastier than I expected it to be. And here comes the clicking again. Okay, let's quickly go over to the place of places, to the actual secret storage. And oh my god, this clicking just continues all over the place. I really should have switched it off or hooked up some kind of sequence to prevent it. Oh, and I damaged my elytra. Darn it! All right, moment of truth. Boop boop boop. And according to the way the sound behaves, yeah, there is some clickery going on somewhere beyond. Okay, let's see. Yep. Definitely would be a good call to disable the clickety clicks before I went to look at the delivery. But yeah, the delivery system works. Go figure. That is great news, actually. I did not expect it to work from the first try to begin with. And yes, I will add some kind of system that will prevent it from working when there's no items in sight. Or perhaps there is another way to deal with it. And that another way would be to actually, instead of a single line over this stuff, of the droppers, creating a circle, okay? Creating a circle of droppers. That would be, and yes, when you exit this place, you don't have to actually put a key inside. That would be walking like this. First of all, there's a line going to the place and out of the place. And in that system, there's constantly cobblestone circling around. So all of the dispensers all of the droppers are always, god damn it, I didn't have my elytra on, but yeah, are always filled. Which means that they're absolutely silent, and they walk silently, and they're perfect. Now, that would be a thought, but I wouldn't want this system to be constantly running, which, yeah, this particular idea would require exactly that. And, yeah, I might need some kind of way to figure in that, wow, that one out. But sadly, that's all the time I have for this particular episode. Thank you everybody so much for watching. My name has been XP. This has been Eriador. Sorry if this episode feels a tiny bit watered down for you on your taste. I will try to fix it in the next one, and expect a vlog actually explaining all about it in the next couple of days. Thanks for watching. This has been XP. I already decided. To be continued. Bye bye.